Welcome to Knife Chats. If you like this video, please take a moment to leave a comment. Thank you. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Outdoorsman Series by Rough Rider. Now, I'm not sure if this series is still around or not. I have a feeling that they have kind of discontinued it. I don't see the knives in there too often anymore. I would love it if they would bring it back and maybe update it a little bit. So far, I've only got a few knives in it, and that's because I really wasn't buying the series. I was just buying knives based on their pattern. But my favorite knife in the entire Outdoorsman series is this little fixed blade. Here you go. Not a very big knife. It's about 7 inches, a little less than 7 inches. Let's see, 6 7/8 of an inch long, with a blade that's just a little over 3 inches, and a cutting edge that is just at 3 inches long. Nice little drop point blade. Really great lines on this knife too, if you can see them. Feels great in the hand. Yeah, it's got a small handle. It's like a little bird and trout knife. Came with a lanyard hole, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And you've got the smooth tobacco bone with the Rough Rider acorn shield right here. 4 brass pins holding on the tobacco bone handle. You've got a nice nickel silver bolster up here. As you can tell, it's a full tang handle all the way around. Got a little choil there so the blood doesn't drip all over you. And here you see Rough Rider 1278. That's the pattern number. I don't think this knife is out there anymore, but you can see it's just a great looking knife. And more importantly, it's just a great using knife. I've used it for whittling. I've used it for cutting up bark. I've stripped bark off of trees with it and everything. I've also used it for cutting up meat and everything. Really great steak knife, great paring knife. It's really good for cutting up bait and doing just about any kind of chore that you would think of when you're out there hiking or camping or anything. So it's a real small knife, but it can handle a lot of big chores. And one of the cool things about it was that it did have a lanyard hole, which allows you to attach a lanyard to it. And as you can tell, my lanyard is just a shoestring, which is what I do often. I do not make fancy lanyards. I make lanyards that I can use. And this lanyard, what I did is, you see here, there's a hole here with a knot, and that's so I can slip a finger through here. And by doing that, my hand will stop from sliding up on the blade. I can use either my index finger or my middle finger. My middle finger pulls my hand even further back. And so there's no way I can get up on the blade and accidentally slip up on it and cut myself. I can still turn the knife over, grab it this way, and do some cutting up if I need to. So the lanyard doesn't really get too much in the way, but it gives me better control and less fear of slipping up on the blade, because the knife really doesn't have a guard. But really, you don't need the lanyard too much, because mostly what you're doing is grabbing the knife like so and doing some cutting and everything, or you're pushing down and whittling and stuff. And just a really great knife. And like I said, this is my favorite knife in the entire Outdoorsman series. And I've never seen this knife except in this Outdoorsman series. And that's probably my only grief about it. I really wish Rough Rider would put this knife out there again in any series. I'm not really too concerned about what the handle material is, because it's such a good knife. And this is the only one I have, and I would really like a couple more of them so I could break them out and use them, because once I use this one up, I'm going to be really in a hurt, because I really do dig this knife. It's one of my favorite knives to take out in the woods. And because of its size, you can just take this sheath. It's only 7 inches long or so, so you can easily just throw this sheath in a pocket. You don't even have to put it on a belt. Lock it up, and the knife is not going to slide out. Of course, one of the problems with the sheath is, and the way the knife is designed, even though you have it locked that way and the knife is pretty snug in there, you take and pull on your lanyard, you can pull it out without it. So it's almost like one of those tube sheaths. But it does make it snug enough that it will not fall out. If you pop that out, it makes it a little easier. The sheath itself is your typical Cordura nylon with some leather accents. If you notice there, it says Rough Rider on it. Really nice, well solid made sheath. Have no complaints about it. But like I said, I usually just throw it into my pocket, or I throw it into a bag and just carry it that way, because it's small. I mean, there's no real reason to put it on a belt unless you feel like doing that. And the knife itself, you know, it's not a broken knife. It's not a slip joint. You already got a nice fixed blade, a nice firm blade, and it just looks great. And you got that acorn shield on there that really just is a nice accent to it. But seriously, Rough Rider, please consider releasing this knife again, or at least putting it back out there in the Outdoorsman Series again. The RR1278, probably one of the best little fixed blade knives I have in my entire collection, and I just love using it. Thanks for watching. Just to recap, the RR1278 is a small game knife in the Outdoorsman Series by Rough Rider. The knife is just shy of 7 inches long. It features a 3-inch drop point blade made of 440 stainless steel. The RR1278 has a full tang construction featuring a smooth tobacco bone handle that is pinned on with 4 brass pins. It also has a nickel silver bolster and a convenient lanyard hole. And you will find the Outdoorsman Series acorn shield in nickel silver on one side of the knife. Included with the knife is a nylon sheath with leather accents and a snap closure. The knife fits the sheath quite well. It does not slide out of it. There's really only one carry option for the sheath, and that is horizontal. However, the knife and sheath are small enough that they could easily be dropped into a pocket, tackle box, or day pack as well. Over the years, the size of a fixed blade knife that I've carried out in the woods has continued to shrink, and now I'm down to this one. I've been using this one for about a year and a half, and it has done remarkably well for me. And the great thing about it is it's much lighter, much smaller, doesn't take up any space, and it does what I need it to do. Which leads me to the question, has anyone else downsized their knife? I mean, gone from a large fixed blade to a small fixed blade over the years? And if so, did that work for you? I understand that everyone has different needs out in the woods, so for some people, you're going to need that larger fixed blade. But for me, a small fixed blade works just as well, if not better. I would love to hear other people's experiences or their thoughts on a small fixed blade knife as opposed to a larger fixed blade knife for their hiking and camping or outdoor activities. If you have any thoughts, please leave them in the comments below. And if you also have this RR1278, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this knife, because as you can tell, I really do like this knife quite a bit. I'm wondering if other people have had a similar experience with this particular knife. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Knife Chats, and if you did, please like and share it with your friends. Comments are always welcome. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode of Knife Chats is up online. Thanks again. Hope to see you soon.